My name is Dr. Ila Shukla, and today's presentation would cover the topic about general procedure of the cell culture, primary, established and transformed cell cultures. It is a topic under pharmaceutical microbiology. So, coming to the slide with contents, first is the introduction about all these cultures, then the general procedure for the cell cultures, then what are the type of cell cultures are there, what are primary cell cultures, secondary cell cultures, cell lines, cell strains, what are established and transformed cell cultures, what is the difference among cell lines and cell strains, and the type of cell lines that are used, the finite cell lines that are used, then the continuous cell lines and the type of cultures that are included in the cell lines. So, coming to the first slide for introduction. So, cell culture is a multifaceted process through which cells are isolated from the animal or the plant and their subsequent growth under controlled artificial condition, generally outside their natural environment. Yes, of course, when we talk about cell culture, it is just like cultivating crops. We take out the seed from the plant, we place it in the soil, we sow it, we provide proper manure and fertilizer, proper moisture condition or the water, and then accordingly the seed grows out of it. So, similar is the case with the cell culture. What we do? We take out the cell from the living being, it could be plant or animal. We take out the cell from there, we place it in a media where the particular kind of substances required like energy sources, glucose, fructose or whatever amino acids. Then other than that aerobic or anaerobic conditions, then your temperature, then your pH, everything is maintained in the culture media and the cells are allowed to culture or allowed to grow over there. This procedure is called as cell culture. When we culture cell, when we grow cell outside from the basic or the origin of that cell or the original place of that cell, then it is called as cell culture. In this procedure, the cells are directly isolated from the body and is segregated by the enzymatic or the mechanical procedure. Like if it is enzymatic procedure, that means we add some kind of enzymes into it, the cells that are attached among each other will be disintegrated, will get separated. If it is not there, if it is not the requirement there, what we do? We simply shake the content, like we place a cell in the media, in a liquid media, we slowly centrifuge it, and what happens? The cells get separated. Then cell culture, this cell culture was first successfully undertaken by Ross Harrison in 1907. He is a scientist who has first successfully taken the cell culture. Coming to the next slide, this slide says about the general procedure for cell culture. The basic procedure for cell culture is, first step is aseptic techniques. Aseptic techniques refers to that the area where the cell culture is being done or the procedure is being carried out, the presence of microorganisms should not be there, or I can say that presence of viable microorganisms should not be there. For that purpose, the area has to be properly sterilized. Proper sterilization technique should be used while operating in that area. When the person moving from outside to inside, coming from outside into that area has to cross such kind of barriers so that the sterilization is properly maintained. Just to avoid any kind of contamination, we need to follow such kind of aseptic techniques. Then coming to the next step, it is preparation of the glasswares. Preparation of the glasswares refers to the cleaning of the glasswares, or I can exactly say that is sterilization of the glassware so that no viable microorganism is there on the glassware. What we do for that purpose? We properly either we can use a hot air oven for the sterilization or any other technique, like we can keep these glasswares in the UV light as well, such just to avoid or just to maintain proper sterilization procedure. Then selection of the culture system, cell culture system, like it could be like if the cells are need to be placed in a media where these are attached to the surface, or if the cells are need to be placed in a media where the liquid media is there and they are suspended. It all depends on our requirement. If we need to culture it on a solid media, we prepare the agar plates and we culture it over there. If we need if we need a suspension culture, we prepare agar broth in which we cells are suspended and they keep on growing accordingly, and the cluster of the cells are formed in this liquid media. Then comes your preparation of the cell culture systems. Once the culture system has been decided, like what we need, like we need solid media, we need liquid media. After that, we start preparing the requirements that would be there while we are carrying out the procedure for the cell culture system. Coming to the next slide. So, this is the general procedure, this is the complete procedure for your cell culture. What is happening here? Selection and isolation of the organ. We select the organ and we isolate it so that from where the cells would be drawn. Then dissection, the removal of the necrotic cells and the fat cells. It is a procedure where we are carrying out where we are developing the cell line from a particular necrotic tissue. Necrotic tissue refers to the cells where the cells are dead. So, either necrotic cells or the fat cells. Then it could be like mechanical disaggregation. As I just told you, we just keep it in a test tube in the liquid broth, we slowly place it in the centrifuge and the RPM is very low and the centrifuge is switched on for some time. It could be primary explant technique. Explant technique refers to that we ourselves define that what piece or what portion of that particular tissue would be taken. So, it could be mechanical disaggregation with chopping, slicing of the tissue, sieving, syringing, pipetting, all these procedures are done. Then the next procedure of this after this dissection is enzymatic disaggregation. Mechanical disaggregation has been done, but it is not always sufficient for us to use the mechanically disaggregated cells, because sometimes clusters are there. So, for that purpose what we do, we go for enzymatic disaggregation. This enzymatic disaggregation could be by trypsin, could be by collagenase, could be by other enzymes like bacterial proteases. So, trypsin, it could be warm trypsinization or it could be cold trypsinization. In collagen, if we use collagenase, it could be it could be directly used, or if we are using bacterial proteases, it can also be directly used. What we will obtain after this procedure is the resuspended and the seed. Seed is not like the plant seed. Seed refers to that group of cells or the cell which will be used to which we will be inoculating into the fresh media, so that the new cell culture would develop. So, what we get after it is the primary culture. Primary culture is something which is first cultured, like we draw the cell from the organ, we place it in the culture media and the cells start to grow. That culture refers to the primary culture because it is the first culture after we have drawn the cells. So, the primary cell culture would be obtained. Then after that we go for subculture. Subculture refers to growing the cells in the fresh media, taking from it from the primary cell culture. Primary cell culture से cells को लेकर new fresh media में place कर उनको grow करना refers to subculturing or subculture. So, this subculture will further we keep on subculturing and it will lead to the formation of cell line. So, this is the complete overall procedure what happens when we start our procedure of cell culture. Coming to the next slide. So, what are the type of cell cultures? It could be primary cell culture. Primary cell culture means first culture, like we have drawn the cell from the organ, we have placed in the culture media and cells start growing. Then the culture formed is primary cell culture. It could be adherent or it could be your suspension cell culture. Adherent cell culture means the media where we are culturing the cells is solid, like it is just like jelly or the jam. Agar plate is formed and the cells are capped into it or inoculated into it and then they start growing. Then what happens is cells are adhered to that surface, particular surface. It is just like this. It is your agar plate, some kind of media is here. We have inoculated the cell into it, the growth would be observed like this, small dots would be there. It is not, you will not be seeing such kind of dots by naked eye, you have to use some kind of microscope or something. It is just a visualization of the system so that you can understand. So, it is the media into it and you can these are the small dots. This is the agar plate. How it looks like from horizontal one, it is like this. This is the media and the cells are onto it, they keep on going. So, what is happening here, the cells are adhered to the surface, these are cells, these are adhered to the surface. What happens in that suspension culture, a test tube type system is there, broth is there, broth is some kind of liquid media, the cells are suspended, they grow like this, these dots are the visualization of the cells, they grow like this. So, these are suspended into the media and here the cells are sticked on the surface. So, this is what adherent cell culture and suspension cell culture is. Then comes secondary cell culture. Secondary cell culture actually comes from primary cell culture. When we subculture the primary cell culture, what we obtain is secondary cell culture. So, secondary cell culture is a broad term, it will include all the cultures after it, like it could be cell lines, it could be finite cell lines, it could be continuous cell lines. Finite means they will survive for a duration and continuous cell lines means that they will be preserved and they will be used whenever we require it. Then you comes primary culture. Primary culture, it is the initial stage of culture, as I just told you, after the cells are isolated from the tissue or proliferated under the appropriate conditions until they occupy all of the available substrate. प्राइमरी सेल कल्चर तब तक प्राइमरी सेल कल्चर रहता है जब तक कि वो मीडिया में प्रेजेंट सारा सबस्ट्रेट कंज्यूम नहीं कर लेता. वंस द सबस्ट्रेट इज कंप्लीटली कंज्यूम्ड, वी नीड टू ट्रांसफर इट टू द अदर फ्रेश मीडिया, देन देयर द कल्चर वुड बी रेफर्ड टू एज सेकेंडरी सेल कल्चर. At this stage, the cells have to be subcultured by transferring them to a new vessel. As I just told you, if the substrate is completely used, energy sources are completely used, we need to transfer it to the fresh media, otherwise the cells will not survive this senescence. So, at this stage, the cells will be subcultured by transferring them to a new vessel with a fresh growth medium to provide more room for continued growth. So, primary culture contain a very heterogeneous population of the cells. Since we have drawn it directly from the organ or the tissue, then the cells that are present in our sample that are being cultured could be a mixture of different cells, since it is body or it is it is living system. So, it is not like there is a complete demarcation that only this cell would be present here, the other cell will not come to this place. It is not like that. Bodies do not have such demarcations. So, for that reason, the primary cell cultures are often heterogeneous in nature. That means more than one type of cell could be there in the primary cell culture. So, primary cells have a finite lifespan. As I just told you, they consume the substrate, we need to transfer it into the fresh medium. Then subculturing of the primary cells lead to the generation of the cell lines. As I just told you in the previous slide, subculturing refers, then it keep on subculturing, it will lead to the formation of cell lines. Then your next slide says about the secondary cell cultures. When a primary culture is subcultured, it becomes secondary cell culture or cell line. If we keep on subculturing and it get immortalized, then the cell line are formed. Subculture, what is subculture refers to? The transfer of cells from one culture vessel to another culture vessel. It is not like that. It is not like that only the primary culture, if only the transfer of cells from the primary culture will be referred to as subculture. It could be like from anywhere. If it is a secondary cell culture, if it is cell line which was cultured and some of the cells are taken out from it and placed in the fresh media, then also the same term will be used, that is called subculturing. Subculturing or splitting cells is required to periodically provide fresh nutrients and growing space for continuously growing cell lines. As I just told you, why we need subculturing? We need subculturing because the nutrient in a particular media are finite, they are limited. Once they are consumed, we need to transfer the cell to the fresh medium so that they keep on growing. The process involves removing the growth media, washing the plate. What is the process of subculturing? First is removing the growth media is removed. Plate is properly washed, dissociated or the adhere cells are properly maintained, enzymatically removed. Such cultures may be called as secondary cultures. Once the primary culture is subcultured, the culture that is derived from here would be the secondary cell culture. So, next slide says about the cell lines. So, after the first subculture, the primary culture becomes known as cell line or subclone. What happens once the secondary cell culture has been developed, the first subculture that is done after the primary culture is come to known as either cell line or we can call it as subclone. Clone refers to duplication. Subclone, we are just using this term just to maintain that understanding that it has been subcultured. The cell lines derived from the primary cultures have a limited lifespan. As I just told you that cell lines could be of two types, with a finite lifespan or it could be of continuous cell line. Cells with the highest growth capacity predominate, resulting in a degree of genotypic and the phenotypic uniformity in the population. What happens while we develop the cell line? The cells which have a good growth capacity keep on developing, which have proper degree of genotypic and phenotypic representation, keep on developing, and then they outnumber the population, that is the other cells which are not able to grow, and this is how the uniformity of the population is then maintained. Then there are some kind of codes that are used for the cell lines. These are like one example is NHB, it is normal human brain. This slide would tell you about the name of cell line, how the cell lines are named. The code could be like normal human brain, it could be like NHB. Cell line number, this is applicable when the several cell lines are derived from the same cell culture sources like NHB1, NHB2. It's like first thing what we do is we have derived the cell from the normal human brain, what we abbreviated as NHB, normal human brain. After that, the cell line culture, like the first cell culture was used or the second cell culture was used, we number accordingly, like it was first, so the number would be 1, if it is second the number would be 2. Then the number of population doubling the cell line has already undergone. Then in a particular duration, what is the number of doublings that the cell line has gone will be numbered accordingly, like if it is NHB2, then if it is the second cell line for the normal human brain and it has gone 2 times doubling, so we will place a slash, and we place the number 2 over here because the 2 times it has doubled. Coming to the next slide, the commonly used cell lines for your this cell culture are HeLa cells, HEC293. HeLa cells are used when we were testing or we were using this polio vaccine, we were developing the polio vaccine, these were used then. Then HEC293 HEC293 or the human embryonic kidney derived epithelial cell, this is the complete name of the cell line and the abbreviation is HEC293. The cell line of choice is in transient and the stable transformation experiments. This cell line is many times or you can say commonly used when we are doing experiments in which the transformation of the protein synthesis or the gene expression has to be observed. We used to carry out the experiment with this HEC293 cell lines. Moreover, if we go for electrophysiological experiments, that what are the ions doing in our body, how they are functioning, what is the variation and what is the effect of that variation, we use these cell lines. Then CHO cell lines or CHO cells are used in various applications such as recombinant protein production. If we are interested in producing recombinant proteins or the studies that are related to the growth factor, then we opt for CHO cell lines. Coming to the next slide, it tells about the cell strains. We have heard about the cell lines, what are cell lines? Then comes your cell strains. Cell strain or the subpopulation of a cell line is positively selected from the culture by cloning or some other methods, and this cell line becomes a cell strain. What we do when we take out a particular cell line or the group of cells from the subculturing of the cell lines or the subpopulation of the cell line and we clone it again and again, then what develops is your cell strain. A cell strain often acquires additional genetic changes subsequent to initiation of the parent line. What happens, why we call it as cell strain? Because it is not identical to the cell line culture or it is not identical to the cells that are present in the cell line, because it adapt or it forms some kind of genetical changes in its genetic makeup. So, these cells have a finite lifespan, these cell strains have a finite lifespan of up to 40 to 60 divisions in vitro, and they are useful in vaccine production. Why we go for cell strain production? We go for cell strain production because it is one of the very important application of cell strains is like of vaccine production. Then what are established cell cultures? The established cell culture refers to cell line only. The cell line is a permanently established cell culture. When we say that the culture is established cell culture, that means we are referring to what we are saying is the cell line actually, because cell lines are the established cell culture that will proliferate indefinitely given appropriate fresh media and space. Why? Because we have already we freeze them so that their metabolic machinery is frozen, it will not proceed. If it is not proceeding, that means no disintegration of further cells would be there. So, for that reason the cell lines will be called as established cell culture, because it will not die, it will progress indefinitely if the proper medium and the culture fresh media and space is provided. Then comes your transformed cell cultures. What is difference between established cell culture and transformed cell culture is that established cell culture means we are talking about cell lines. Transformed cell cultures are cell lines only, but what happened to them is there is a major change or the minor change in their genetic makeup. They have adapted to some kind of changes in their environment and such change has been reflected in their genetic makeup. So, normal or transformed cell cultures refer to the cell lines which have undergone a permanent change in their phenotype through a genetic transformation. Some kind of genetic transformation has happened which has caused the phenotypic change in this transformed cell culture. So, transformed cell lines usually have a increased growth rate and higher plating efficiency, are continuous and require less serum in media. So, with this genetic change often it happens that with the genetic change, transformed cell lines usually have increased growth rate, their growth rate is increased, they grow fast with a higher plating efficiency, they are easily placed in the media, they are continuous, they keep on growing continuously, and then they require less serum in the media. Whatever the media is being used, we require very less amount of serum. What would be benefit if we use less serum? The benefit would be that the serum often have many kind of impurities, like it has been drawn directly from the living system, it could carry the antibodies and the or some kind of infection from that particular organism. So if it is serum is less in the media, that means the chance of contamination would be low. So this is the benefit of the transformed cell culture, but these transformed cell cultures have different applications as well. So this slide tells you about the difference between cell lines and cell strain. So what is the difference between cell line and cell strains? That cell lines differ from the cell strains in that they have escaped the helic flare limit and become immortalized. What is the difference? As I just told you in the previous slide, cell lines have been immortalized. What immortalized actually refers to? Immortalized means that they will be preserved in such a way that whenever they are taken from that preservation, they will be ready to use. Like if you provide just fresh media and the proper ambient condition for them to grow, they will grow and form that particular cell culture into it. So cell lines are immortalized. Why? Because whenever they are given fresh media and the ambient condition, they will grow, while the cell strains have a very limited lifespan, up to 40 to 60 divisions. Some species, particularly rodents, give rise to lines relatively easily, whereas other species do not. If we talk about the rodents, the development of the cell lines from the rodents is very simple and very easy, because they have a smaller lifespan. So we can study the thorough effect and the thorough implications from there. Whereas if we talk about other species, it is very difficult for us to prepare the cell lines. No cell lines have been produced from the avian tissue. Till now we haven't prepared any kind of cell lines from the avian tissue, and the establishment of the cell lines from the human tissue is difficult. As I just told you in the previous slides also, because animal cell culture is difficult, because the animals have a very complex machinery of metabolism. We require different kind of proteins, we require different kind of enzymes, that too they differ from organism to organism, person to person. For that case, it is very difficult for establishing the human cell lines, although we do have developed such cell lines, but it is very difficult process. Coming to the next cell line, these are the type of cell lines. So a cell line or cell strain may be finite or continuous, depending upon whether it has limited culture lifespan or it is immortal in culture. So जो भी लाइफ स्पैन है कल्चर का, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दैट, लाइक इफ इट इज लिमिटेड अप टू some duration or some divisions, after that it will senescence or die out, that means it is finite. If it is not there, if senescence is not there, that means the cell lines are continuous. So what finite cell lines say? The cell lines which have a limited lifespan and go through a limited number of cell generation, usually 20 to 80 population doublings, are known as finite cell lines. Finite cell lines or the cell culture has a limited lifespan. They grow for a particular time, like it could be number of doublings, like it could be 20 doublings of the population or up to 80 doublings, but beyond that they will senescence. So these cell lines exhibit the property of the contact inhibition, like monolayer cell growing, density limitation and anchorage dependence. These are the properties which are shown by these finite cell lines, that is contact inhibition is there, only monolayer cell will be growing. Second thing is that density limitation is there, these are not much dense, and the anchorage dependence, they depend upon the type of or the strength of anchorage. So the growth rate is slow, and doubling time is around 24 to 96 hours. It is a huge time while we are working upon cell, because we need to produce result fast for it. Then comes continuous cell lines. Continuous cell lines transform under laboratory conditions or in vitro culture condition, give rise to continuous cell line. I am telling you the same thing. Cell lines which can be cultured when they are placed in the fresh media again and again and again, that means they are continuous, they do not senescence, or I can say they senescence, but the number of cells or the number of doublings in such a way that they can be cultured again and again, and then culture can be maintained. So, they grow in monolayer or the suspension form. In the both the form they can grow, while the finite one can grow in encouraged form only. The growth rate is rapid and the doubling time is 12 to 24 hours. This time is actually perfect because while we are working upon cell, we need to do it fast because the results would be delayed in that case. So, the type of culture media in the cell line, monolayer cultures could be there. Type of cultures that are being used in the cell lines, it could be monolayer culture. Single layer is formed when the bottom of the culture vessel is covered with a continuous layer of the cells, but the only single layer is formed, it is not much thick. Suspension cultures, as I just told you, suspension cultures refers to a growth media in a broth form, in a, you can say, soup form. Soup is there, media is in a soup or the broth form, liquid form, and the cells are suspended into it. What are the advantages in propagation of the cells by suspension culture media? First is the process of propagation is much faster. Obviously, they need the environment around them is less toxic. Whatever the toxic is being toxins are being produced by the cells are get diluted because they are in a liquid media. Frequent replacement is possible. Easily we can pour it into the other vessel with the fresh media. Suspension cultures have a short lag period. Lag period is less. Lag period refers to the period in which the cells reduce the your dividing capacity, or they take long time for dividing. Treatment of trypsin is not required in it, the requirement of trypsin is not here. Homogeneous suspension of cell is obtained. Maintenance of suspension cell culture is easy and the bulk production of cells is easily achieved because we can easily transfer it to the other medium easily. We need just to pour it into the next fresh media. So, scale up is also very convenient, like we can scale up, like we can easily measure the growth into it. So, this was the complete presentation, and we covered about the culture, different type of cultures, and this is all for today.